At the very beginning of the story, we are introduced to a young girl named Shulai, only 15 years old. Her life changes in an instant when a devastating earthquake strikes her city, reducing buildings to rubble and leaving chaos everywhere. In the middle of this destruction, Shulai becomes trapped beneath heavy debris, unable to move. Darkness surrounds her completely and fear slowly takes over her thoughts. Lying there helplessly, she begins to lose hope. This is where it ends, she thinks to herself, convinced that no one will find her in time. The silence feels suffocating and every second stretches endlessly. Just as despair begins to consume her entirely, a faint light appears in the darkness. It grows brighter, cutting through the dust and shadows. That light belongs to a firefighter named Jin. Jin reaches her, carefully removing the debris and pulling her to safety. In that moment, to Shulai, he is more than just a rescuer, he becomes the light that saved her life. After the incident, Shulai is taken to the hospital. Though physically safe, she feels emotionally shaken and withdrawn. The trauma lingers, leaving her quiet and distant. One day, something unexpected happens. A dog appears by her bedside, carrying a small bottle of juice and a note. The dog belongs to Jin, and even though he is not there himself, this simple gesture leaves a deep impression on her heart. Some time later, Shulai learns that the firefighters, including Jin, are leaving the area. Without hesitation, she runs after them, hoping to see him one more time. But she arrives too late, they are already gone. Standing there, filled with longing and determination, she makes a promise to herself. She recalls the moment when everything around her was dark and hopeless and how Jin's light had guided her. She vows that no matter how long it takes, she will find him again. Even if it takes 10 years, she will follow that light. Years pass and Shulai grows into a strong, determined young woman. She becomes a reporter, someone who chases truth and tells stories. Despite the passage of time, her promise remains alive within her. One day, a serious accident occurs on a national highway involving multiple vehicles and leaving many people trapped. Emergency teams rush to the scene, including Jin and his crew. As a firefighter, he immediately assesses the situation, understanding that it is complicated and dangerous. At the same time, Shulai arrives to report on the incident. However, things do not go smoothly. Another reporter from her company pushes her aside and takes control of the camera, eager to get ahead. Frustrated but determined, Shulai asks the cameraman if everything was recorded, only to learn that the camera has been taken away. Seeing that it was left behind inside the dangerous area, Shulai decides to retrieve it herself. She enters the hazardous zone and manages to find the camera, but just as she reaches for it, a burning signboard begins to fall toward her. Before it can hit her, Jin appears and pulls her out of danger. The moment Shulai sees him, memories from the past flood back. She recognizes him instantly, the same person who saved her years ago. Meanwhile, Jin, unaware of her identity, looks at her with slight irritation. "Why would you risk your life just for reporting?" he asks. But Shulai barely hears his words. She is overwhelmed, lost in the realization that she has finally found him again. Jin notices her silence and checks if she is hurt before turning to leave. She quickly tries to introduce herself, but he casually responds that he already knows and walks away, leaving her confused and slightly hurt. She wonders if he truly does not remember her. Refusing to give up, she begins to follow him, but once again he disappears from her sight. Among his team, the other firefighters tease Jin, joking that a reporter seems to be chasing their captain. Jin dismisses it, brushing it off as something insignificant. The next day, news spreads claiming that the firefighters failed to do their job properly during the accident. Their reputation suffers greatly and the team becomes furious. They want to confront the reporter responsible and demand an apology. However, Jin stops them, calmly stating that they do not need to defend themselves against false claims. When Shulai learns about this misleading report, she feels responsible. Determined to fix the damage, she decides to interview the firefighters and reveal the truth. At her workplace, she struggles to get support as her senior refuses to assign her a cameraman. At that moment, a new and inexperienced reporter named Joe arrives. Seeing an opportunity, Shulai asks if he knows how to operate a camera and immediately takes him along. Together, they go to meet Jin and his team. Shulai sincerely apologizes and explains that she wants to correct the mistake. However, the firefighters are unwilling to cooperate. Just then, their superior arrives and orders them to give the interview, leaving them no choice but to comply. Still determined, Shulai continues trying to get closer to Jin. At one point, she even sits beside him during a meal and begins eating from his plate, forcing him into conversation. Her persistence eventually works and Jin reluctantly agrees to the interview. However, instead of asking serious questions, Shulai surprises him with personal ones about his life and relationships. Jin is confused and slightly annoyed, questioning her professionalism, but Shulai simply laughs, enjoying the moment. Soon after, an emergency call interrupts them and the firefighters rush off again. Later, when Shulai presents her work, her team is impressed and the report gains significant attention. Even the firefighters feel relieved seeing their reputation restored. Jin, however, begins to suspect something. He wonders how Shulai knew about his involvement in the earthquake rescue years ago. Eventually, Shulai gathers the courage to confess her feelings directly. She asks Jin if he would date her. Caught off guard, he refuses immediately. She demands a reason, but he insists that he has no interest in relationships, neither now nor in the future. Despite the rejection, Shulai refuses to give up. Her determination only grows stronger. Meanwhile, Jin begins to feel conflicted, especially when he sees situations that remind him of her. As time goes on, Shulai finds herself in another dangerous situation while investigating illegal activities at a factory. She gathers evidence, but the workers discover her actions and chase after her. Injured and cornered, she finds herself in serious danger once again. Just in time, Jin arrives with his team. Without hesitation, he steps in, protects her, and even fights off those threatening her. Carrying her to safety, he cannot hide his frustration. He scolds her for constantly putting herself in danger, though his concern is obvious. Shulai, noticing his reaction, teases him gently, asking if he is worried about her. Jin denies it, but his actions say otherwise. Their relationship continues to evolve through moments like these, filled with tension, care, and unspoken emotions. Eventually, Jin discovers the truth about Shulai's past. He realizes that she is the same girl he once saved, the one who held on to his words for 10 long years. When he confronts her, she calmly explains that she simply waited, believing in the promise that gave her hope. However, Jin tries to distance himself emotionally. He tells her that what she feels is not love but dependency born from that moment in the past. Even so, Shulai stands firm. She openly confesses that her feelings are real and refuses to walk away. Even after being rejected again, she does not lose hope. Instead, she makes one thing clear: she has already waited for 10 years and she is not going to give up now. After everything that had happened, Shulai finally opens up about her feelings and experiences to her close friend Fong. Sitting together, she shares her frustration, her hope, and the pain of loving someone who does not seem to return those feelings. Fong listens carefully but responds honestly, reminding her that one-sided love often comes with exactly this kind of struggle. It is rarely easy, and more often than not, it hurts deeply. While they are still talking, another person arrives, Yan, a longtime friend of Shulai who has known her since childhood. Unlike others, Yan has always cared for her in a quiet and steady way, even harboring feelings for her that he has never fully expressed. He casually mentions that he came to pick her up, though his concern for her is obvious. Not long after, an emergency breaks out. A fire engulfs a building and firefighters rush to the scene to rescue those trapped inside. As always, Shulai heads there as well, determined to report on what is happening. Amid the chaos, a desperate mother cries out, begging someone to save her child who is still inside. Without hesitation, Jin enters the burning building. Smoke fills the air and visibility is almost non-existent. He searches quickly but carefully until he finally discovers the child hiding inside a closet. He rescues the boy and brings him out safely. Even after that, he insists on going back inside one more time to make sure no one else is left behind. But as fate would have it, a sudden explosion occurs while he is still inside. The blast traps him within the burning structure, leaving him injured and unable to move properly. Outside, panic begins to spread as the situation worsens. Shulai, seeing what has happened, becomes overwhelmed with fear. In that moment, she spots a firefighter's uniform nearby. Without thinking twice, she puts it on and runs straight into the flames. Just as Jin once appeared as a light in her darkest moment, she now becomes that light for him. When she reaches him, Jin is shocked. He cannot understand how she managed to come inside such a dangerous place. He asks her if she is not afraid, but Shulai answers with complete sincerity: when she is with him, fear no longer exists. Eventually, both of them are rescued. However, during the process, another explosion occurs. Jin instinctively shields Shulai from harm, taking the impact himself and getting injured. Afterward, as he prepares to leave, Shulai follows him, worried about his condition. She urges him to at least get his injuries checked properly. Instead of responding calmly, Jin becomes angry. He scolds her for acting recklessly, asking what she would have done if something had gone wrong or if her equipment had failed. Shulai, however, stands her ground. She explains that she had checked everything beforehand and knew what she was doing. Even so, Jin continues to lecture her, clearly upset, not just out of anger but out of concern. As he turns to leave, she stops him once more. This time, her tone softens. She tells him that everything she does is by her own choice and he does not need to feel burdened or special because of it. Even saving him was not meant to create guilt, it was because she genuinely wanted him to notice her, to feel something for her. At that moment, Yan arrives to take her home, but Shulai refuses to leave things as they are. She insists on taking Jin to the hospital despite his resistance. Eventually, she manages to bring him there. At the hospital, a lighter moment unfolds involving one of the firefighters, Liuang, who is terrified of getting an injection. Coincidentally, the doctor treating him is someone he had previously gone on a date with. Trying to act brave and impress her, he asks the nurse to be gentle, but the injection ends up being anything but gentle, leaving him dramatically distressed. Meanwhile, Jin encounters a doctor named Zong. The moment they see each other, it becomes clear that they share a complicated past. Jin admits that he had been trying to find her to apologize, but Zong coldly responds that she has no intention of forgiving him. Shulai witnesses this exchange from a distance, sensing that there is a deeper story behind it. Later, when she sees Jin receiving treatment, she notices the scars covering his back, marks of countless past injuries. The sight deeply affects her, bringing tears to her eyes. She gently asks if he is in pain, but Jin quickly tries to cover himself, avoiding the emotional moment. Still, Shulai insists on helping him, even something as simple as putting on his shirt. In doing so, she moves closer to him both physically and emotionally. Their connection becomes more intense, even if unspoken. Curious about Jin's past, Shulai asks Liuang to find out more about his relationship with Dr. Zong. After some hesitation, he agrees. Through his investigation, it is revealed that Zong was once involved with a firefighter, someone very close to Jin. This leads to a painful memory from the past. Jin recalls how his best friend had fallen in love with Zong and the two eventually got married, but during a dangerous rescue mission, tragedy struck. While trying to save others, Jin's friend sacrificed himself, ensuring Jin's safety in his final moments. Before dying, he made a heartfelt request that his wife should not see him in such a broken state and that she should live a happy life without being tied to his memory. This loss left a deep impact on Jin, shaping his views on love and relationships. Back in the present, Yan confronts Jin, warning him to stay away from Shulai. He describes her as innocent and emotional, someone who might mistake attachment for love. Jin, however, firmly responds that Shulai is capable of making her own decisions and that Yan should speak directly to her instead of interfering. Later, Shulai meets a woman whom Jin had once helped. When Jin arrives with gifts, the woman mistakenly assumes they are a couple and invites them to visit again together. This creates an awkward but meaningful moment between them. Jin then takes Shulai out to eat, but instead of enjoying the moment, he tries to set boundaries. He explains that since they have both saved each other's lives now, they are even and there is no reason to continue this connection further. Shulai listens but does not accept his reasoning. She explains that her feelings are not based solely on the past anymore. Over the years, they have grown into something real and genuine. She is not drawn to him just because he saved her, she truly likes him for who he is. Jin, however, remains firm. He tells her that his life is dedicated to saving others and filled with sacrifices. He has no space for relationships or emotional commitments. The loss of his friend has only strengthened this belief. Even after hearing all this, Shulai refuses to give up. She admits that she had imagined making up for the lost time once they met again. Although his rejection hurts deeply, she cannot simply let go of her feelings. Overwhelmed with emotion, she drinks heavily and in a moment of vulnerability, kisses Jin before leaving. This unexpected act leaves him shaken and restless. In the days that follow, Jin appears different. His team notices the change, sensing that something significant has happened. Meanwhile, at a training center, new teams are formed and Shulai becomes one of the trainers assigned to work with Jin's group. Their interactions continue, now in a more professional setting, yet the tension between them remains. When Jin tries to bring up the kiss, Shulai casually dismisses it, claiming it was just a result of drinking and that it should be forgotten. This response confuses Jin even more. Seeking advice, he turns to Luong, who jokingly suggests that her reaction might mean she felt nothing at all. Determined to understand, Jin even starts watching romantic dramas, trying to figure out how relationships work. During training, Shulai takes charge confidently, giving instructions and assigning tasks. At one point, a sudden thunderstorm frightens her, and without thinking, she hugs Jin. Though brief, the moment feels significant. Later, when heavy rain begins to pour, Jin covers her with his jacket and they run together through the rain. For Shulai, it becomes a small but precious memory. Their connection continues to grow through these subtle moments, filled with tension, care, teasing, and unspoken emotions, leaving both of them slowly changing in ways they cannot fully understand yet. During one of the training sessions, the atmosphere becomes unexpectedly competitive. The trainees are given a rock climbing challenge, and Yang manages to outperform the others, impressing everyone with his speed and agility. Watching this, firefighter Lu jokingly remarks that their captain Jin is even faster, comparing him to Spider-Man because of his incredible climbing skills. Encouraged by this, Yang boldly challenges Jin to a direct competition. The two begin climbing side by side, pushing themselves to the limit. Although Yang performs well, Jin ultimately wins, demonstrating his experience and control. The team cheers enthusiastically, clearly proud of their captain. In the excitement of the moment, Shulai cannot hold back and rushes forward to hug Jin, celebrating his victory with genuine happiness. Later, she approaches him and asks why he reacted so strongly during the competition. Normally, Jin ignores provocations, so she is curious about what made this situation different. Jin explains calmly that Yang has great potential to become an excellent firefighter, but his temper needs to be controlled. By accepting the challenge, Jin hoped to teach him discipline rather than simply defeat him. However, the situation takes another turn when they discover that Yang and Lu have started competing against each other again, this time letting their rivalry get out of hand. Jin becomes visibly annoyed and immediately scolds both of them, reminding them that teamwork matters more than personal pride. As punishment, he assigns them extra duties. When Yang and Lu go to check on their assigned dogs, they are shocked to discover that the animals are missing. Panicked, they rush to Shulai for help. She listens and explains that dogs are highly sensitive to their owners' emotions. Because both of them had been acting aggressively and competitively, the dogs likely became uneasy and ran away. She warns them that finding the animals will not be easy, especially under such conditions. Without wasting time, Shulai sets out to search for the missing dogs. When Jin learns that she has gone alone, he immediately becomes concerned. He remembers that she had once mentioned being afraid of heavy rain and especially of thunder. Realizing the potential danger, he heads into the forest to find her. After searching for quite some time, he finally locates Shulai hiding in a small sheltered area. She looks frightened and exhausted. Jin helps her up, but instead of comforting her gently, he starts scolding her again, frustrated by her recklessness. He reminds her that even though she is a skilled dog trainer, she should not put herself in situations that she cannot handle emotionally. Despite his harsh tone, his concern is obvious. He hands her a small light and tells her to use it whenever she feels scared or finds herself in a difficult situation. To keep her warm, he lights a fire nearby, creating a sense of safety in the dark forest. Gradually, Shulai relaxes. Leaning against him, she falls asleep with her head resting on his shoulder. Jin stays awake for a while, making sure she is comfortable and safe. The night passes quietly like this, with the two of them sharing an unspoken moment of closeness. The next morning, Jin notices that Shulai has developed a fever. Without hesitation, he takes her to a doctor. During the examination, when asked about their relationship, Shulai casually refers to Jin as her fiancé. The doctor, impressed by Jin's attentiveness, comments on how caring he is, mentioning that he stayed by Shulai's side the entire night. Hearing this makes Shulai secretly happy. Jin, however, does not stay long as he has work to attend to. Shortly after he leaves, Yan arrives with food for Shulai. Seeing an opportunity to escape the boredom of the hospital, she convinces Yan to help her sneak out. Although they manage to leave unnoticed at first, Luong spots them and quickly informs Jin. Meanwhile, Shulai brings Yan back to the training camp. Their interaction is lighthearted until Jin suddenly appears and grabs Shulai's hand, clearly displeased with Yan's presence. She quickly intervenes, calming both of them. Jin firmly states that outsiders are not allowed in the camp, making it clear that Yan does not belong there. After Jin leaves, Shulai gently asks Yan to behave properly. She explains that both Jin and Yan are important to her in different ways. One is the person she loves and the other is her closest friend. Later, she finds Jin standing alone. Playfully, she reaches into his pocket and pulls out the rubber band she had given him earlier. Smiling, she teases him, suggesting that he must care about her if he kept it all this time. Jin, trying to remain indifferent, claims that he had no idea it was even there. Despite his words, his actions begin to reveal a different story. At one point, Jin prepares a meal and waits, intending to give it to Shulai when she arrives. However, when she comes and sees that there is no food left, she assumes nothing was prepared for her and leaves angrily, refusing his offer when he tries to give her his plate. Hungry and upset, she walks away, only to receive a call from Yan, who tells her that he has brought food for her outside the camp. She goes to meet him, unaware that Jin had gone out of his way to cook something especially for her. When Jin later goes to her room and finds it empty, he searches for her and eventually sees her sitting with Yan in a car. The sight clearly affects him, though he does not openly admit it. As time passes, the training program comes to an end and everyone officially joins the earthquake rescue team. That same evening, Shulai calls Jin to meet her. She begins drinking and speaks openly about her feelings, telling him that ever since he came into her life, the emptiness she once felt has slowly disappeared. Jin tries to bring up the kiss they shared earlier, but Shulai interrupts him, saying that she cannot forget it because it was her first kiss. Under the influence of alcohol, she becomes more emotional, confessing that she never wants to lose him. Eventually, she leans on him, unable to stand properly. Jin gently carries her back, and during this quiet moment, she asks him not to leave her. This time, instead of avoiding the question, Jin gives a simple but meaningful answer. He says that he will not leave. The next morning, as Shulai prepares to leave, she asks him what she should do if she misses him. Jin tells her that she can always come back whenever she feels that way. Before leaving, she remembers something important and kisses him again, this time more consciously. Jin responds, deepening the moment between them. Unfortunately, Yan witnesses this from a distance. The sight breaks his heart, though he keeps his feelings hidden. Soon after, Shulai's career takes a new turn. She is promoted to a host position and is assigned to interview several well-known individuals, including Jin. Excited, she approaches him to ask for his participation, but he initially refuses, saying he dislikes such public attention. However, with encouragement from others and after learning that Yan will also be present, Jin reluctantly agrees. When Shulai teasingly suggests that he might be jealous, he responds honestly, admitting that he does not like hearing her praise someone else. During the interview event, tensions rise. Misunderstandings and outside interference create confusion, especially when someone falsely implies that Shulai and Yan are in a relationship. This deeply affects Jin, who begins to withdraw emotionally. Later, a confrontation occurs between Jin and Yan, leading to a heated argument fueled by jealousy and unresolved feelings. Matters escalate when Jin sees something that convinces him he might be losing Shulai, causing him to act impulsively. Shulai, confused by his sudden cold behavior, tries to understand what is wrong. When she finally confronts him, the truth comes out. Jin asks her directly if she plans to marry Yan. Shocked, she immediately denies it, making it clear that her feelings have always been directed toward Jin alone. Realizing the misunderstanding, she teases him gently, calling him jealous. Jin, unable to hide his emotions any longer, admits that while he can control everything else in his life, he loses that control when it comes to her. In that moment, he finally gives in to his feelings and kisses her, no longer holding back. The tension between them transforms into something more certain and mutual. Elsewhere, Yan struggles to accept what he has seen. Heartbroken, he turns to alcohol and eventually goes to Shulai, confessing his feelings openly. Overcome with emotion, he tries to cross a boundary, but Shulai stops him firmly, making it clear that she does not feel the same way. Yan, though hurt, tells her that he will give her time, still unwilling to let go completely. And so, the story continues, with love, jealousy, and complicated emotions intertwining, as each character struggles to find their place in a situation where hearts are no longer protected from pain. After everything that had unfolded, Shulai finds herself once again searching for clarity. She goes to speak with Fong, hoping to understand the complicated situation surrounding Yan. Fong does not hesitate to tell her the truth. Yan has loved her for many years, ever since their school days. His feelings were not something recent or sudden. In fact, he had followed her path, even choosing his career partly because of her, staying close to her without ever demanding anything in return. Hearing this deeply unsettles Shulai. She begins to reflect on the past, realizing how blind she had been to Yan's quiet devotion. Without wasting time, she decides to meet him and speak honestly. When she finally stands in front of Yan, her expression is filled with guilt. She apologizes sincerely, admitting that she had never noticed his feelings nor understood the extent of his care. She acknowledges that he had always been there for her, silently supporting her while she remained unaware. Despite her regret, she makes her stance clear. She tells him that she cannot return his feelings and that it would be unfair to let him continue hoping for something that will never happen. With a heavy heart, she suggests that it would be better for both of them to distance themselves for a while. She believes that cutting contact might help him move on and heal. Yan struggles to accept this decision. The idea of losing her completely is painful, but Shulai gently insists, knowing that prolonging the situation would only cause more harm. Eventually, she leaves, carrying the weight of her decision with her. Soon after, another emergency situation unfolds. A serious accident occurs on a highway bridge where two vehicles collide. One of the cars ends up dangerously hanging over the edge with a man and his child trapped inside. The rescue team, including Jin, arrives quickly. Shulai is also present, reporting on the incident. The situation is extremely tense as the car could fall at any moment. Jin acts without hesitation. He manages to rescue the child first, ensuring his safety. However, during the process, both Jin and the child's father end up in a dangerous position, suspended and at risk of falling. The entire team works together to pull them up, but the situation remains unstable. Seeing this, Shulai instinctively joins in, using all her strength to help. Thanks to the combined effort, both Jin and the man are finally brought to safety. In that intense moment, overwhelmed by relief and emotion, Jin turns to Shulai and embraces her tightly. For the first time, he openly expresses what he has been holding back. He admits that during the rescue, he was afraid not of death itself, but of leaving without ever confessing his feelings to her. He tells her that he does not want to live with regret anymore. From now on, he wants to be with her. However, he also gives her space, telling her that she can take time to think before giving him an answer. Meanwhile, another emotional thread begins to develop between Lu Fang and Dr. Zhang. Lu Fang approaches her and starts a thoughtful conversation about their professions. He reflects on how both firefighters and doctors constantly face life-and-death situations and how this reality leaves a lasting impact on them. As he speaks, it becomes clear that his concern is not purely professional. He admits that he often thinks about her and feels her absence when she is not around. However, he struggles to define his feelings, unsure whether what he feels is truly love. Dr. Zhang responds firmly. She tells him that what he is experiencing does not necessarily mean love, and even if it did, it would not matter. She reveals that she is already married and makes it clear that he should not pursue her any further. Her words create a distance that Lu Fang cannot ignore. Quietly, he leaves, leaving behind the dinner he had brought for her. Back in Shulai's story, she visits Jin at his home one evening. It is already late and Jin suggests that she stay the night instead of going back alone. Though slightly hesitant, she agrees. The darkness of the house makes her uneasy. Noticing this, Jin lights a candle and gives it to her, telling her that its light will keep her from feeling afraid. He reassures her in a simple yet meaningful way before going to rest. However, Shulai cannot fall asleep easily. Sitting quietly, she looks at Jin, realizing that her fear is not truly driven by darkness. Instead, it disappears when she is with him. In her heart, she understands that it is not the candle's light that comforts her but his presence. As she continues watching him, Jin wakes up and notices her. Without saying much, he gently makes space for her beside him. That night, they fall asleep together, sharing a quiet sense of closeness. The next morning brings an unexpected surprise. Jin's grandfather arrives and finds them sleeping in the same room. Embarrassed, Jin quickly tries to explain the situation, insisting that nothing inappropriate happened. His grandfather, however, seems more amused than concerned and even invites Shulai to join them for dinner. Later, during the meal, the grandfather begins asking Shulai many questions about her life and family. She answers politely, explaining her profession and background. Eventually, the conversation turns to a more direct question when they plan to get married. Both Jin and Shulai are caught off guard. Jin admits that they have not thought about it yet, which causes his grandfather to react with frustration. To him, their closeness already suggests a serious relationship. Shulai calmly explains that although they met long ago, they have only recently reunited and would like to take their time. Her answer softens the situation and the grandfather decides not to press further. Afterward, Jin shows her around the house. During their conversation, he shares painful memories from his childhood, including the loss of both his parents. His father died during a rescue mission and his mother passed away later in an accident. At one point, Shulai notices a piano and mentions that she learned a song from her teacher. She begins to play it, filling the room with a gentle melody. The music stirs something deep within Jin, reminding him of his mother who used to play the same piece. When he joins her, their shared connection becomes clear. As they talk, they realize that Shulai's teacher was actually Jin's mother. This unexpected bond brings them even closer and they embrace, feeling as though their lives have been connected in ways they never realized. Meanwhile, danger begins to rise again. A man named Sun, who runs a fraudulent operation, becomes aware that a reporter is investigating his activities. He orders his men to prepare to capture her as soon as she arrives. Shulai, determined to uncover the truth, goes to the location with Jin. While searching the area, they discover suspicious materials. Suddenly, they are surrounded by hostile individuals. A fight breaks out. Jin focuses on protecting Shulai even as she gets injured. He hides her in a safe spot and faces the attackers alone. Despite his strength, he is eventually overwhelmed and struck with a bottle, leaving him seriously injured. Shulai quickly calls for help, but the situation escalates as she is also targeted. Just in time, Yan and Fong arrive and the attackers flee upon realizing that the police are on their way. Jin is rushed to the hospital where he undergoes surgery. Shulai is consumed with worry, unable to focus on anything else. Meanwhile, Yan confronts Sun, furious at what has happened. He makes it clear that Shulai is the most important person to him and warns that he will not forgive anyone who harms her. Back at the hospital, Shulai refuses to leave Jin's side. She stays with him, even working nearby just to remain close. At night, she secretly returns to see him despite hospital rules. During one such visit, a nurse nearly catches her, forcing her to cling to Jin to avoid being seen. The moment turns unexpectedly lighthearted, and after the nurse leaves, they share a quiet laugh. Still, Shulai refuses to leave, insisting on staying with him until morning. However, a serious development soon emerges. Dr. Zhang informs Jin that there is a significant problem with his knee. He will need surgery, but even then, the outcome is uncertain. There is a real possibility that he may not fully recover. Jin asks her to keep this information from Shulai. He explains that if the surgery succeeds, he will tell her himself. But if it fails, he does not want to become a burden or hold her back. His decision reflects his deep love for her, even though it means pushing her away. As events unfold, Shulai accidentally discovers something is wrong when Jin does not react to pain as expected. Concerned, he consults Dr. Zhang again, who confirms the severity of the condition. Soon after, Shulai receives a call from her mother, who advises her to find a stable and healthy partner. Moments later, Jin echoes similar thoughts, telling her that they are not suitable for each other. He claims that his unpredictable work and lifestyle make it impossible for him to give her the attention she deserves. He even goes as far as to say that she is not the kind of person he needs, creating distance between them. Shulai is deeply hurt by his sudden change. Unable to understand his reasoning, she leaves in disappointment. When Yan learns about this, he confronts Jin. During their conversation, he reveals that his relationship with another woman was never real, it was only a way to stay close to Shulai. He admits that he still loves her deeply and wants to protect her. Jin, seeing Yan's sincerity, asks him a direct question whether he is truly willing to take care of Shulai and make her happy. When Yan promises that he will, Jin makes a painful decision. He agrees to step back completely, deciding that he will no longer appear in Shulai's life if it means she can have a better future. As Yan leaves, he reflects on everything that has happened. Determined to understand the full situation, he makes a call requesting all of Jin's medical reports, knowing that the truth behind Jin's decision is far more complicated than it seems. Shulai puts her heart into preparing a meal with her own hands. Every small detail matters to her, as if the food itself carries her feelings. When everything is ready, she takes it to the hospital, hoping to see Jin and take care of him, even if only in a small way. However, as soon as she arrives, she is stopped by a nurse. The nurse informs her that Jin has refused to see any visitors that day. Those words hit her hard. She stands there for a moment, unsure of what to do, before quietly placing the food aside and leaving, unable to hide her disappointment. Dr. Zhang witnesses this from a distance. She understands immediately that something is wrong and decides to confront Jin. When she asks him about his behavior, he calmly responds that what he is doing is for Shulai's own good. His answer frustrates her and she lets out a bitter laugh. She tells him that now she finally understands why he and her late husband were such close friends. They share the same flawed thinking. Both of them believe that pushing someone away is a form of protection. She reminds him that women are not as fragile as he assumes. They do not simply walk away from someone they truly care about, nor do they give up so easily. Her words carry both anger and truth. Jin, however, remains firm. He insists that this decision is the right one and adds that her husband would have wanted her to be happy, not stuck in pain. After she leaves, Jin finds himself reading a note left by Shulai. In it, she writes that she does not understand why he is acting this way, but she makes one thing clear: she is not someone who gives up easily. Meanwhile, Dr. Zhang goes out to dinner with a group of acquaintances. Instead of support, she faces insensitive remarks. Some of them mock her situation, reminding her that she has lost her husband and implying that she will spend the rest of her life alone. Their words are cruel, questioning her worth as if her past defines her future. Before she can respond, Lu Fang steps in. He boldly declares that she is not alone because she already has someone, him. He even claims, half seriously and half defiantly, that he fell for her at first sight and that she accepted him after much effort. His unexpected statement silences the others. Dr. Zhang, however, does not play along for long. She confronts her friends directly, pointing out how outdated and unfair their views are. She refuses to let herself be judged by such narrow thinking. After saying her piece, she walks out, unwilling to stay in such an environment. Lu Fang follows her outside. She immediately tells him that he does not need to act like a hero and that his actions will not change her decision. No matter what he does, she cannot accept his feelings. But Lu Fang does not give up. He asks her what she truly wants, promising that he is willing to change if it means being accepted. Instead of answering directly, Dr. Zhang begins speaking about her late husband. She lists his qualities, remembering the man she loved deeply. As she speaks, her composure breaks and she begins to cry. Lu Fang gently tries to comfort her, and as rain begins to fall, the moment becomes even more emotional, filled with unspoken feelings and unresolved pain. At the same time, Shulai waits for Jin late into the night, exactly as she had written in her note. She sits outside in the rain, refusing to leave. When Jin finally comes out and sees her, she tries to end their conflict, telling him that whatever happened between them should be resolved now that a new day has begun. But Jin's response is cold. He tells her to leave and declares that their relationship is over. His words feel like a sudden blow. Shulai cannot accept this. She tries to reason with him, asking if he is upset because of something her mother said. She insists that those words were meaningless and should not matter. Jin, however, denies that explanation. He claims that he has realized they are not right for each other and that it is better to end things now. Shulai refuses to accept such a conclusion. She argues that a relationship cannot end so easily, especially one that has just begun after so many years apart. Despite her efforts, Jin remains unmovable. Hurt and frustrated, Shulai makes a desperate decision. She tells him that she will stay in the rain until he calls her back. Jin goes inside, but he cannot truly turn away. From behind the window, he watches her silently, his emotions hidden. Unable to bear the situation, he calls Yan. When Yan arrives, he tries to persuade Shulai to leave, telling her that Jin has truly let her go, but she refuses to believe it. She insists that Jin would not abandon her like this. As time passes, the cold and exhaustion take their toll and Shulai collapses. Yan quickly takes her away, worried for her safety. Meanwhile, Jin steps out into the rain himself as if sharing in her pain from afar. Yan brings Shulai home and tells her to change into dry clothes. He stays outside through the night, unable to leave her alone in such a state. The next morning, when she sees him, he explains that he stayed to make sure she was safe. He even prepares breakfast for her, trying to take care of her in small ways. But Shulai is still consumed by her feelings for Jin. As she eats, tears begin to fall. She admits that she cannot forget Jin no matter how hard she tries. The years she spent waiting for him have only made her feelings stronger. Eventually, she asks Yan to leave, needing to face her emotions alone. Elsewhere, Dr. Zhang confronts Jin again, this time with anger. She scolds him for neglecting his health and acting recklessly. She reminds him that his injury is serious and that giving up on treatment is not an option. Jin, however, expresses doubt, saying he feels as though his condition will never improve. Her frustration grows as she reminds him of the effort being put into his recovery and the sacrifices others have made. Just then, his grandfather arrives and learns the truth about his condition. Upset that he was kept in the dark, he demands answers. Jin admits that he ended his relationship with Shulai not because of a lack of love, but because he feels incapable of taking care of her in his current state. He fears becoming a burden and losing his identity as a firefighter. Meanwhile, Shulai collapses at a bus stop from exhaustion and emotional strain. When she wakes up in the hospital, she has a faint sense that someone had been holding her hand. Unbeknownst to her, Jin had come to see her but left before she regained consciousness. Trying to escape her pain, Shulai later goes out with Dr. Zhang and drinks heavily. She tries to convince herself that the breakup is for the best, that she no longer has to worry about Jin, but her words do not match her feelings. As soon as they leave, she breaks down, admitting that she still misses him deeply. Eventually, she ends up in Jin's room, drunk and vulnerable. Despite everything, her heart leads her back to him. She confesses that she missed him before falling asleep beside him. The next morning, she pretends it was all a mistake, trying to hide her true feelings. At the same time, conflicts with Sun escalate. Yan confronts him, making it clear that he has gathered enough evidence to expose his illegal activities. Sun, however, is not willing to back down. Soon after, Shulai is kidnapped by Sun's men. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself face to face with him. He uses her as leverage to lure Yan. Despite being threatened, Shulai tells Yan not to come and to call the police instead. Yan ignores the danger and goes to rescue her, only to be attacked and seriously injured. Sun reveals that he has set a trap, placing Shulai in a hidden location with a bomb. At the last moment, Jin arrives and fights his way through the attackers. With the help of Shulai's dog, he locates her. Despite his injured condition, he climbs up to reach her. She begs him to stop, fearing for his life, but he refuses to give up. He manages to free her and remove the bomb, but there is no time left. Acting quickly, he secures the bomb away from them and jumps down with her. The explosion follows immediately after. Shulai regains consciousness, but Jin does not. Terrified, she rushes him to the hospital. There, she finally learns the truth about his condition, that he had been hiding a severe injury all along. As his surgery begins, she waits outside, overwhelmed with guilt and realization. She understands now that everything he did, even pushing her away, was out of love. Dr. Zhang later tells her that Jin's condition is critical and that complications are possible. She explains that despite everything, Jin chose to undergo surgery because he wanted a future with Shulai. He did not want to hold her back, yet he could not stop loving her. And in that moment, Shulai realizes just how deep his feelings truly were, and how much he had sacrificed without ever asking for anything in return. After everything that had happened, the situation began to shift once again. Determined to bring the truth to light, Shulai presents a crucial recording involving Jang to the management. The evidence clearly exposes wrongdoing connected to Mr. Sun, leaving no room for denial. As a result, Jang is suspended from her position, and the consequences of her involvement finally begin to surface. Not long after, Shulai goes to visit Jin at the hospital. When she arrives, a nurse casually mentions that it is time for Jin's bandages to be changed and suggests that his wife can assist him. The nurse then leaves without waiting for a response. Shulai feels slightly embarrassed but quickly explains that she had to identify herself as his wife earlier in order to sign important documents during his treatment. Without hesitation, she offers to help him with the dressing. Jin, however, refuses at first, insisting that he can manage on his own. Despite his determination, it becomes clear that his injury makes even simple movements difficult. Seeing him struggle, Shulai steps forward again, more firmly this time, and begins to help him, ignoring his protests. Just then, Lu Fang and Yang walk into the room unexpectedly. The situation becomes awkward, and Jin quickly asks Shulai to step outside while telling the two men to stay. Though slightly annoyed, she leaves without arguing. Outside, she contacts Yan, who is also in the hospital recovering from his injuries. His condition is serious, and his voice carries both exhaustion and regret. He apologizes to her, blaming himself for everything that happened. Shulai gently reassures him, telling him that he is not responsible for what occurred. After ending the call, she returns to Jin and mentions that she had spoken with Yan. Jin acknowledges Yan's efforts, admitting that Yan risked his life to save her and played a crucial role in helping him find her in time. Later, Shulai takes Jin to a quiet place, a school where a piano stands in one of the rooms. She begins to play a melody, filling the empty space with soft music. The sound awakens memories in Jin, reminding him of moments from his childhood. Overcome with emotion, he starts to leave, but Shulai stops him. She speaks from the heart, asking him to give their relationship another chance. Jin hesitates, weighed down by his fears. He admits that he does not want to become a burden, especially since he is uncertain about the condition of his leg and whether he will fully recover. But Shulai refuses to accept his doubts. She tells him that his limitations do not change how she feels. If he cannot see, she will be his eyes. If he cannot walk, she will walk for him. Her words are filled with sincerity and determination. She reminds him that she stood by him in the past and wants to continue doing so in the future. Moved by her unwavering support, Jin finally agrees. For the first time in a long while, the tension between them fades and they begin to rebuild what they almost lost. Over the following days, Shulai stays by his side at the hospital, helping him through his recovery. With her encouragement and care, Jin slowly regains strength and even begins to walk again on his own. One day, overwhelmed with relief and happiness, Shulai embraces him tightly as if afraid to lose him again. Meanwhile, Yan arrives to pick Shulai up after receiving a call from her mother. When they reach her home, her mother is delighted to see them together and immediately begins suggesting that they should get married. Shulai quickly refuses, explaining that Yan already has a girlfriend named Shishi. Her mother is surprised, as she had believed that Yan still had feelings for Shulai. Yan does not deny it completely. He admits that he cares for her but also acknowledges that Shulai does not feel the same way. This leads to tension within the family. Shulai's mother begins criticizing her while her father tries to calm the situation, reminding everyone that it has been a long time since Shulai last visited and that she should not be made uncomfortable. The argument escalates, and unable to tolerate it, Shulai leaves the house in frustration. Yan follows her, concerned. Seeking comfort, Shulai goes straight to Jin. The moment she sees him, she hugs him tightly. She shares her feelings, talking about her family and the conflicts she has witnessed since childhood. She reveals that her parents had divorced when she was young but later began living together again despite constant arguments. Jin listens quietly, offering her the stability she lacks elsewhere. Their bond deepens and they share a peaceful and intimate time together. The next morning is filled with light-hearted moments. Jin watches her with a soft expression and they laugh together. In a playful gesture, he even helps tie her hair, creating a sense of normalcy and warmth. Soon after, Dr. Zhang brings good news. Jin's recovery is complete. His condition has improved significantly and he no longer needs to worry about his previous injury. Grateful, Jin thanks her and encourages her to also move forward in her own life. At that moment, she finally reveals the truth about her husband. He had suffered severe burns with most of his body and face damaged. He chose not to let her see him in that state because he wanted her to remember him as he once was. Hearing this, Dr. Zhang is overcome with emotion, her tears reflecting both love and loss. With his recovery complete, Jin returns to work, bringing joy to his entire team. Not long after, he invites Shulai on a date. They spend time together by the sea where Jin opens up about his life. He explains that for a long time his only purpose was to protect others, but now his priorities have changed. He also wants to protect her. Their feelings finally align without hesitation, and they share a quiet, meaningful kiss. Later, during a casual conversation, Jin jokingly tells Shulai that from now on he will follow her lead in everything. Unfortunately, his fellow firefighters overhear this, causing him great embarrassment. Trying to regain control of the situation, he proudly announces that he and Shulai are officially together and tells everyone to treat her as part of the family. Meanwhile, Yan struggles with his emotions. After learning that Shulai and Jin have reconciled, he goes to a bar and drinks heavily. By chance, Shishi is there as well. Although she initially ignores him, she cannot leave him in such a state when he collapses. She helps him into her car and takes him home. Their interaction is filled with awkward humor. Yan questions how he ended up there while Shishi complains about how she abandoned her plans to take care of him. Despite her words, her actions reveal a softer side. At one point, she jokingly reminds him that as his girlfriend, his reputation also affects hers. Eventually, she drops him home and he thanks her sincerely. However, she brushes it off, teasing him for being emotionally distant. Later, when Shulai sees them together, she feels relieved, believing that Yan is moving on. In an effort to bring everyone together, Shulai arranges a dinner and invites both Yan and Shishi along with Jin. However, the evening takes an unexpected turn when Shishi privately reveals the truth to Shulai, that her relationship with Yan is not real and that he still loves her. This revelation deeply unsettles Shulai. When she shares this with Jin, he admits that he already knew. Yan had told him everything earlier, and it was partly why Jin encouraged Yan to stay close to her. Shulai feels betrayed. The two people she trusted the most had kept such an important truth from her. Hurt and angry, she walks away, unable to accept their reasoning. Jin tries to explain, but she refuses to listen. Elsewhere, Lu Fang continues his pursuit of Dr. Zhang. He takes her out, trying to make her relax. Under the influence of alcohol, she becomes more open and even playful, though her emotions remain complicated. Their interactions are filled with tension, humor, and moments of unexpected closeness. Slowly, the walls around her heart begin to crack. At the same time, Jin reaches out to Shulai, asking her to meet him at the place where they first crossed paths. As she makes her way there, she learns about a major fire breaking out nearby. Realizing that Jin would likely be involved, she rushes to the scene. At first, she cannot find him and becomes overwhelmed with fear. But then he appears safe. Without hesitation, she runs to him, embracing him tightly. In that moment, all her anger fades. She admits that she does not want to stay upset anymore. Jin looks at her seriously and asks if she will ever leave him again. Shulai responds honestly, she never intended to leave him at all. Their story, filled with misunderstandings, sacrifices, and unwavering love, continues forward stronger than before, shaped by everything they have endured together. A sudden and devastating earthquake strikes without warning, shaking an entire region and leaving destruction in its wake. Buildings collapse, roads crack open, and panic spreads everywhere. As soon as the emergency alert reaches the fire department, the entire rescue team mobilizes immediately. There is no hesitation, every second counts when lives are at stake. Lu Fang heads straight to the hospital to gather essential medical supplies before departure. While there, he meets Dr. Zhang and tells her calmly, yet with a hint of emotion, that he's being sent on a dangerous rescue mission. He reassures her that he will come back safely, trying to ease her concern. Before leaving, he hands her a diary and asks her to read it only after he is gone. The gesture feels meaningful, almost like a confession left behind in case he cannot return. He then pulls her into a brief but heartfelt embrace and leaves without looking back. Once he is gone, Dr. Zhang opens the diary. As she reads, she realizes that every page is about her presence in his life, the moments they shared, and the feelings he never fully expressed before. His words are sincere, vulnerable, and deeply personal. By the time she finishes, she is overwhelmed with emotion, her heart filled with warmth and realization. Without wasting another moment, she runs outside, hoping to stop him before he leaves, but she arrives just as his vehicle is pulling away. Desperate, she chases after it, calling out to him, telling him that she still has so much she wants to say. Her voice carries both urgency and affection as she asks him to return safely. Meanwhile, the rescue teams reach the disaster zone. The damage is far worse than expected. Entire structures have collapsed, and reports come in that many children are trapped inside a destroyed school building. The firefighters immediately begin their operation, carefully navigating the unstable debris in an effort to save as many lives as possible. Shulai also arrives at the scene as a field reporter, determined to document the rescue efforts. When Jin notices her, he is surprised but quickly understands her purpose. She explains that she has been assigned to closely follow and report on their work. Despite the dangerous surroundings, they share a brief, meaningful moment before returning to their responsibilities. Back at the hospital, Dr. Zhang cannot stop thinking about Lu Feng. When a meeting is called to assign additional medical teams to the earthquake zone, she immediately volunteers. In her mind, she no longer wants to wait for him, she wants to stand beside him no matter the risks. During the rescue operation, tragedy nearly strikes. Lu Feng gets seriously injured while trying to save others. His condition becomes critical, and for a moment it seems as though he might not survive. Jin, overwhelmed by the situation, expresses frustration and guilt, feeling that he is not doing enough to protect everyone. The pressure of the disaster weighs heavily on him, especially knowing that many people are still trapped in other areas. Shulai steps in to encourage him, reminding him that losing hope is not an option. Her words help him regain focus, and he continues leading the rescue efforts with renewed determination. Soon after, Dr. Zhang arrives at the disaster site. When she sees Lu Feng, she is filled with a mixture of anger and relief. She scolds him for risking his life so carelessly, reminding him that he had promised to protect her but failed to protect himself. At the same time, she admits that she can no longer ignore her feelings and that she intends to stay by his side from now on. After saying this, she leaves, giving him time to recover. When Lu Feng regains consciousness, he initially believes that her presence was just a dream. However, he soon notices her pen beside him, proving that she was really there. Realizing this, he rushes outside to find her and confronts her playfully. She tries to downplay the situation, insisting that she only came because the hospital needed more staff. But Lu Feng is not convinced. He shows her the pen as evidence and asks if what she said earlier was genuine. Before she can respond, he is called away for duty again, leaving the moment unresolved. Elsewhere, Yan is also trying to reach Shulai, but the roads ahead are blocked due to the earthquake damage. By coincidence, Shishi is there as well, setting up a temporary camp. Their conversation reveals a different side of her, one that is strong, hardworking, and far more capable than he had realized before. Yan admits that he never truly understood her. She responds honestly, pointing out that his attention had always been elsewhere. Despite the tension, she insists on staying with him, refusing to let him face danger alone. Suddenly, another aftershock hits, causing more destruction. Both of them are caught in the chaos and fall, getting injured. Shishi loses consciousness while Yan struggles to carry her to safety. Even in her weakened state, she asks him to promise that he will come back to her after finding Shulai. He agrees, telling her that they will leave together, but only after she receives proper medical treatment. As rain begins to pour, the disaster response team arrives and takes them to safety. When Shishi regains consciousness later, she learns that Yan left immediately to continue searching for Shulai. This realization brings her to tears as she understands where his heart truly lies. Back at the rescue site, Jin and his team face another dangerous situation. A man is trapped under unstable debris and the structure could collapse at any moment. Despite the risk, Jin decides to go inside himself while instructing Yang to stay outside. As he attempts to free the trapped man, the debris suddenly shifts and collapses, trapping Jin inside. Outside, chaos erupts. At the same time, Yan contacts Shulai and urges her to leave the area for her own safety. She refuses, standing firm in her role as a reporter. She explains that she chose this path because of Jin, because she witnessed his courage and wanted to tell stories that matter. Their conversation reveals their emotional distance. Yan realizes that no matter what he does, her heart belongs to Jin. When news spreads that Jin has been trapped, Shulai is devastated. Ignoring her own injuries, she joins the firefighters in searching for him. Hours pass, turning into an entire night, but she refuses to give up. By morning, the situation becomes even more dangerous and orders are given to evacuate the area. However, Lu Feng refuses to leave without finding Jin. Inspired by his determination, the entire team continues searching together. Then, a small glimmer of hope appears, a faint reflection of light. Shulai recognizes it immediately as something she had given Jin. Following the reflection, they locate him beneath the rubble. With unwavering determination, she reaches out her hand and calls to him, reminding him of a moment from the past when he had done the same for her. This time, it is her turn to pull him back. Together, they manage to rescue him. After everything, Yan approaches Shulai one last time. He tells her that he finally understands and that he will no longer interfere in her life. Accepting reality, he chooses to remain only her friend and quietly steps away. When Jin regains consciousness, he cannot stop praising Shulai, proudly calling her the smartest and bravest person he knows. She shares how many people have been praising her work, but he insists that it is only natural. After all, she is extraordinary in his eyes. Their moment is interrupted by a nurse, but even that turns into something playful and warm between them. Once the rescue mission is completed, everyone returns home. Shulai brings Jin to meet her parents, who welcome him warmly and express their gratitude for everything he has done, not only for others but for their daughter as well. Her mother gently reminds him that while he may be a hero to the world, to a family, he is someone precious who must take care of himself. Her words carry a quiet truth: he is no longer alone. They take a family photo together, capturing a rare moment of peace. Later, Jin reflects on how much his life has changed since meeting Shulai. For the first time, he truly understands what it means to have a family. In the aftermath of the disaster, the firefighters are honored for their bravery. Jin receives an award, and during a press conference, he publicly acknowledges Shulai as the one who saved his life. In a heartfelt gesture, he shares his medal with her, declaring that it belongs to both of them. The moment becomes a public confession of their love, witnessed by everyone around them. Inspired by this, Lu Fang playfully follows suit, offering his own medal to Dr. Zhang. Though she initially teases him for copying, her reaction reveals her true feelings. When another woman tries to set Lu Fang up with someone else, Dr. Zhang becomes visibly jealous and finally admits that he is not single, he is hers. From that moment on, neither of them hides their feelings anymore. And so, after facing danger, heartbreak, and uncertainty, each of them finds clarity not only in love but in what truly matters in life. In the next scene, Sui turned to Jin with a hint of excitement in her eyes and asked, "Our first festival is approaching. How do you think we should celebrate it?" Jin paused for a moment, considering the practicalities, and replied with a gentle sigh, "Meeting on that particular day will be complicated. There's always so much work to handle, so perhaps it's better if we celebrate it a little earlier." Sui's face lit up at the idea, and she nodded enthusiastically, imagining the moments they could share before the official day arrived. The following morning, Shuli was dressed impeccably, her hair carefully styled and her outfit chosen to reflect both elegance and comfort. She waited patiently, her anticipation growing with each passing minute. Meanwhile, Jin was also on his way to meet her, carrying in his hand a bouquet of flowers he had carefully picked out, wanting to surprise her. Each bloom was chosen with thought, a representation of his feelings that he hoped Shuli would understand. But fate had its own plans. On his way, an unexpected accident occurred, and Jin was immediately caught up in dealing with the emergency. The minutes stretched endlessly for Shuli as she waited, the soft light of the evening gradually giving way to the darkness of night. Disappointment began to shadow her expression, and she sighed quietly to herself, preparing to leave. Just at that moment, Jin finally arrived, slightly disheveled, his clothes smudged from the earlier chaos. He held out what remained of his carefully prepared gift. "I'm sorry," he said softly, almost apologetically. "There was an accident and the bouquet didn't survive, only this single flower remains, and even it is slightly damaged." Shuli looked at the flower, then at Jin, and despite its imperfect state, she accepted it with a warm smile. The tension of the day melted as they embraced, their lips meeting in a tender, lingering kiss that spoke more than words ever could. Elsewhere, Shusher sat alone in a dimly lit bar, the weight of sadness evident in her posture. Her thoughts lingered on Yan, who had left her, and she sipped her drink with a sense of melancholy. The door opened, and to her surprise, Yan walked in. Moments later, a group of young men tried to take pictures of her, but Yan's protective instincts kicked in. He instructed them to delete the images immediately, and without another word, he took her hand and guided her away. Shusher's frustration surfaced, anger flashing in her eyes. "Now I see your face here too," she exclaimed, and the strain became too much. Her body gave way, and she fainted in his arms. Yan reacted quickly, lifting her gently and bringing her to her home. The interior was in poor condition, a testament to how she had been struggling alone. Shusher clutched his hand tightly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please don't leave me." Yan stayed with her through the night, cleaning and organizing the house with care. When morning arrived, he looked at her with a mixture of concern and gentle reproach. "Don't you realize you're a public figure and that you also have a boyfriend? Why did you go to the bar alone?" Shusher, defensive yet honest, reminded him that he was her pretend boyfriend and that their situation was unusual. Yan countered softly, "Who said we need to break up?" But Shusher, frustrated with the web of lies and half-truths, insisted they needed distance, claiming that now that Shuli knew the truth, the pretense was unnecessary. Meanwhile, Jin and Shuli joined their colleagues for a lunch gathering with the firefighters. The camaraderie was warm and supportive. Everyone praised Shuli for her contributions and welcomed her fully into the team. Leu approached Shuli with an earnest request. He wanted to record a video message for each of his friends and he asked for her help. Shuli eagerly assisted, arranging the camera and lighting, while Jin also expressed his desire to record a message. Their teamwork reflected the strong bonds forming between them and the people around them. As the story progressed, Jin prepared for a year-long assignment at the headquarters. During his absence, Lu Feng had risen to the rank of captain, and Jin took the opportunity to brief him on everything he needed to know. When it was time to leave, Shuli revealed that she too had achieved a promotion on her first day and had already taken decisive action against Jang, an underperforming subordinate. Jin shared the news of his impending departure, causing Shuli's frustration to boil over. She turned away, slamming the gate behind her, leaving Jin to scale the wall and enter her room, where he found himself under her playful yet firm punishment. Their banter continued, an undercurrent of affection running through each exchange. In this tense but tender moment, Shuli suggested that they begin practicing a long-distance relationship, a challenge neither of them relished but both understood was necessary. Jin expressed his unease, unwilling to be apart for so long, yet they found solace in a warm embrace, cherishing the closeness they could share before the inevitable separation. Shuli's interactions with Shushi added another layer of complexity. She tried to establish a connection based on mutual friendships with Yan, but Shushi remained resistant, citing personal preference and her past experiences with Yan as reasons for distance. Shuli defended Yan's character, emphasizing his kindness and sincerity even if misunderstood. Despite Shushi's reluctance, Shuli's persistence reflected her hope for reconciliation and harmony among their circle. The narrative then shifted to Shusha and Yan, highlighting their conflicting ambitions and emotions. Shusha demanded the termination of a contract, expressing a desire to prioritize her personal growth and success. Yan, frustrated but determined, reminded her of the advantages of their partnership and insisted she reconsider, leading to a heated exchange where Shusha left in anger, leaving the tension unresolved. In a lighter interlude, Dr. Zhang and Liuang shared a romantic moment, openly expressing their affection with a tender kiss, providing a brief respite from the ongoing tension in other parts of the story. Shuli prepared a meal for Jin and presented him with a dating schedule, introducing playful rules and punishments that brought laughter and joy into their otherwise serious lives. Even as Jin departed, they shared a heartfelt hug, savoring the fleeting moments together. The calm was shattered when an emergency alarm blared, signaling an explosion that trapped workers in a precarious situation. Jin and his team of firefighters rushed to the scene, navigating the chaos with courage and determination. The danger escalated as a malfunctioning switch threatened a larger explosion, prompting Commissioner Wang to order a complete evacuation. Jin coordinated with Shuli to ensure the public's safety, while the firefighters risked their lives to prevent disaster. The situation became perilous when a burst tank sprayed hazardous liquid, injuring several firefighters, including Jin and Lu Feng. Despite their injuries, they persisted, exemplifying bravery and resilience. The tension reached a critical peak when explosions trapped Liu, leaving Jin to witness the limits of their efforts. Though Yang was saved, the inability to rescue Liu weighed heavily on everyone. Despite warnings, Jin's relentless drive to continue into danger led to severe injuries. Shuli watched in anguish, her heart breaking as he was rushed to the hospital. Dr. Zhang explained the uncertainty surrounding Jin's condition, the possibility of complications, and the risk of a coma. He comforted Shuli, urging patience while emphasizing the limits of medical intervention. In the quiet aftermath, Shuli discovered a video message recorded by Jin before his departure. In it, he confessed his shortcomings as a boyfriend, acknowledged the positive impact Shuli had on his life, and encouraged her to reach out if she missed him. The message left her in tears, a mixture of sadness and gratitude flooding her heart. Later, Dr. Zhang requested Shuli's assistance with an urgent matter at the firefighter camp, highlighting her importance in maintaining morale among the team. Shuli agreed, determined to support both Jin and the firefighters in any way she could, demonstrating her unwavering dedication and courage. Through these intertwined stories, the narrative explored love, sacrifice, professional responsibility, and the resilience of human spirit. Characters faced emotional and physical challenges, navigated complex relationships, and demonstrated profound loyalty and courage. Each moment, whether tender, tense, or triumphant, contributed to a rich tapestry of experiences that revealed the depth of human emotion, the importance of connection, and the enduring strength required to confront both personal and external challenges. Shuli moved among the firefighters, her steps purposeful yet gentle, and addressed them with sincerity. "I just want to remind all of you to take care of yourselves," she said, her voice carrying warmth and authority. Her words were simple, but they held meaning for everyone present, a reminder that even those who saved lives had to safeguard their own. As she looked around, she realized someone important was missing: Yang. Concern immediately overcame her calm demeanor, and without hesitation she went in search of him. She found him seated alone in a quiet corner, his face buried in his hands, tears streaming freely. The raw pain etched across his features was unmistakable. Shuli approached him slowly, kneeling down so their eyes were level. "Yang," she said softly, placing a hand on his shoulder, "I know the loss is overwhelming, I know the weight of it is crushing, but you have to pull yourself together. Life doesn't pause for grief, and work will not wait. If you neglect your duties, there are consequences. And even though Liu is gone, his dog is still here, isn't he? Would you abandon him as well? He still needs care, training, and someone to guide him." Yang looked down at the small, loyal dog curled up at his feet. The sight stirred something in him, a tether back to life, a gentle reminder of responsibility. Slowly he wiped his tears, his breathing steadied, and a faint glimmer of resolve returned to his eyes. Shuli smiled faintly, feeling a spark of hope that he could endure the pain and channel it into strength. Then Shuli gathered the firefighters together and played a video that had been recorded earlier by Liu. The screen lit up with his earnest face and calm voice, carrying words that demanded attention and reflection. "By the time you watch this, I will have left this team," Liu's message began. "And I never like seeing people cry in front of me. We are firefighters. We endure hardships, face dangers, and we do so with courage. Tears are private. We don't allow them to weaken us publicly. I've devoted so many years to this team, and I want my departure to be a moment of celebration, not sadness. Applaud me, not mourn me. I want you to remember the good times, the laughter, and the victories we shared." As the video progressed, Liu's voice wavered with emotion. "This has been the best time of my life. I cannot forget any of you, and leaving is painful. But live well, take care of yourselves, and carry on the work with courage. Jin, you told me never to leave anyone behind, yet I am leaving now. Lu Feng, there will be no one left to tease you, so remember our moments together fondly. Yang, I know you are crying as you watch this, but I want you to promise me that you will become an outstanding firefighter. And Shuli, thank you for always reporting with integrity, for showing truth without bias." When the video ended, Lu's absence left a tangible void in the room. Lu Feng, overwhelmed with emotion, retreated to his quarters and broke down in tears. The team, though composed on the surface, carried a heavy mix of grief and resolve. Shuli turned to Dr. Zhang with concern. "Lu Feng is in no condition to face this alone. Your presence will help him regain composure," she said earnestly. Dr. Zhang nodded, understanding the weight of responsibility and the fragility of the human heart in the midst of trauma. Soon after, the team embarked on a challenging rescue operation. Lu Feng, still raw with grief, suddenly felt the emotional weight of losing Liu and fainted at the scene. When he awoke, he found himself in a hospital bed, Yang sitting quietly nearby. "Is the entire team okay?" Lu Feng asked, his voice tinged with worry. Yang reassured him, "Everything is stable, don't worry." Despite this, Lu Feng's instincts pulled him back to duty. "I must return, I must manage the team," he insisted. Dr. Zhang's voice was firm but caring. "Before you manage the team, manage yourself. Running away from your emotions will not solve anything. You must undergo treatment for the trauma you've suffered. If you collapse or have another shock, you may not recover. Liu's death has been devastating, but you cannot shoulder the weight alone." Lu Feng's grief erupted into anger. "I am fine, I have to go," he shouted, storming out and leaving Dr. Zhang standing in quiet frustration. Moments later, they met again on a quiet street. Lu Feng hesitated as he saw Dr. Zhang approaching. In a moment of clarity, he reflected on a promise he had made to her to always protect and support her. Dr. Zhang stopped and faced him, asserting gently, "Every time you come to my side, today I am coming to yours." Without further words, she embraced him. "You promised you would never leave me," she whispered. Lu Feng felt the warmth and safety in her arms, grounding him in a way nothing else could. Elsewhere, a celebration was underway for Shusher, who was about to cut her birthday cake when Yan arrived. Shusher's surprise melted into joy, her earlier tension dissolving as he apologized for being late. The scene was filled with laughter and warmth, a contrast to the grief that still lingered elsewhere. Dr. Zhang accompanied Lu Fang to a medical specialist, where they learned he was suffering from PTSD. The doctor explained that psychological treatment was essential. As the sessions began, memories of Liu's death returned, vivid and painful. Dr. Zhang supported Lu Fang patiently, bringing him home, preparing meals and sharing quiet moments. A candlelit dinner created a small oasis of light and hope amidst his darkness. Lu Fang confessed, "I understand why you lit these candles. You want me to see that there is still so much positivity in life. With you by my side, negativity cannot touch me." Shuli, meanwhile, rushed to Jin's side, overwhelmed with fear that he might not wake from his injuries. Tears streaked down her face as she whispered her worries. "What if you never wake up?" In a dreamlike vision, Jin saw himself chasing after Liu, feeling helpless, yet Huey's sorrow guided him back to Shuli. When he finally opened his eyes, Shuli, initially panicked, realized he was awake. Jin gently stopped her from calling the doctor and said, "Stay with me a little longer. Seeing you in pain hurts me more than anything." Eventually, Jin was discharged from the hospital. Commissioner Wang informed him that due to his previous disregard of orders, he would not be sent for further training. Jin's eyes lingered on Liu's empty bed, a pang of sadness washing over him as memories of shared moments flooded back. The team paid tribute to Liu with a salute, their respect and sorrow intertwined. Reunited, Jin embraced Shuli. "I missed you so much, our lives are so fragile, anyone can be gone in an instant, we promised to save others but in doing so we risk everything." Shuli held him tightly, whispering, "You protect people and I will protect you, let's go on a date, just the two of us." They spent the day at the training center role-playing rescue scenarios. Shuli feigned injury and Jin rushed to her side, checking her carefully. "I will always save you. Nothing will ever happen to you while I am here," he promised. A festival soon brought the team together to celebrate. The station buzzed with laughter and activity as decorations were hung and meals prepared. Dr. Zhang and Shuli worked side by side with everyone, contributing to the vibrant, festive atmosphere. An emergency alarm interrupted the celebration, but the team's resolve remained strong. Shuli lamented missing a private moment to propose to Jin, but she smiled through it, knowing their bond was already unbreakable. Later, Jin proposed and Shuli joyfully accepted. Wedding preparations followed, with Shuli and her mother selecting dresses together, each outfit a reflection of their personal style and familial connection. The ceremony arrived, steeped in love and remembrance. Shuli's father entrusted her hand to Jin, saying, "Please take care of my daughter." They exchanged vows, promising mutual protection, partnership, and unwavering support, sealing their commitment with rings and a kiss. Amid the festivities, Liuang caught Shuli's bouquet and presented it to Dr. Zhang. Their embrace symbolizing friendship, respect, and unspoken gratitude. Yet life's demands persisted and emergencies called the firefighters away, reinforcing the reality of their duties even on joyous occasions. Meanwhile, Yan reconciled with Shushir, who admitted she still harbored feelings for him despite her plans to study abroad. Their heartfelt conversation led to a mutual acknowledgement of love and a playful promise to conclude their relationship in the same light-hearted spirit in which it had begun. As night fell after the wedding, Jin and Shuli shared an intimate moment together, reflecting on their journey. Shuli thought to herself, "Every story has an end, but ours has taken 10 years to reach this point. And still, our story will continue together into the future." 1 year later, life continued with joy and purpose. Liuang and Dr. Zhang enjoyed quiet, tender moments together, while Yan greeted Shushir at the airport upon her return, embracing her and celebrating her decision to find her true place in life. Jin and Shuli too cherished their days, understanding that while danger and duty were constant, so too were love, hope, and the light they brought into each other's lives. Even amidst accidents and calls for help, Shuli and Jin faced each new day united. Shuli remarked with a rueful smile, "This is how our lives begin each day, filled with new challenges, yet we continue to protect the city and each other. In the end, this story has a happy ending because we are together."